This is section 6.3, binomial radical expressions. This is part 3 of your notes. Okay, this is going to be dealing with some more with conjugates, and what we're going to do is we're going to be able to eliminate roots in the denominator by using the conjugate. Okay, so when rationalizing a denominator, in other words, we cannot have a root in the denominator. You notice these have roots in the bottom. Cannot have the root in the bottom of a fraction. So when rationalizing a denominator with a binomial, you must multiply by the conjugate on top and on the bottom. When doing this, you'll eliminate any radicals in the denominator. Because remember, in part 2, we talked about the conjugate, how it eliminates all radicals. Okay? Then once you do that, you're going to need to simplify your expression as much as possible. All right, so how can you write the expression with a rationalized denominator? So, first example, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate. Well, as you look at the denominator here, we want the opposite of the second term. So really, we're going to multiply by the square root of 5 plus the square root of 2 on the top and on the bottom. Okay? So, on the top, we're going to use the distributive property. Going to take this and multiply it through. So 3 times square root of 2, 3 square root 2 times square root of 5 is 3 square root of 10. Plus 3 square root 2 times square root 2 is 3 square root of 4. Okay? We'll get into the simplifying part here in just a little bit. After that, we're going to FOIL the bottom. So the square root of 5 times the square root of 5, first times first, is the square root of 25. The outsides is plus square root 10, 5 times 2. The inside is negative square root 10. Square root 5 times square root 2 is square root 10. And then last is negative square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. And then I'm going to be able to simplify. So now when I simplify, I've got 3 square root 10 plus. The square root of 4 is 2, so essentially this is just 3 times 2. That root goes away. Notice again, on the denominator, my middle terms are going to go away. The square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 4 is 2. Okay? So now I can simplify again. 3 square root 10 plus 6. 3 times 2 is 6, all over 3. Now, you'll notice that the numbers, as you look at these numbers here, you have a 6, you have a 3 on the outside of the root, and you have a 3 in the denominator. They all go into each other. So, I'm going to have to reduce this. The 3's are going to cancel, so I just have the square root of 10. Plus, 6 divided by 3 is 2. And this is my final answer. 3 cancels with this 3. This 3 cancels with that 6 2 times. Okay? All right, so rationalizing the denominator in the second example here. Again, I'm going to multiply by the conjugate, so this is going to be the square root of 3 plus the square root of 5 over the square root of 3 plus square root of 5. Again, conjugate. Top I'm going to distribute, bottom I'm going to FOIL. So when I distribute, I get 2 times the square root of 21 plus 2 times the square root of 35. Over. When I do the bottom and I FOIL it, I get square root of 9 plus the square root of 15, because it's 5 times 3, minus the square root of 15, 5 times 3. And then last is the opposite of the square root of 25, because it's 5 times 5. Now, on the top, it's not going to simplify anymore. Nothing can simplify it there, so it's 2 square root 21 plus 2 square root 35. And I can't combine them together because they're not the same numbers underneath the root. Again, these middle terms are going to go away. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 25 is 5, so I end up with negative, or 2 square root 21 plus 2 square root 35 all over negative 2. And again, you'll notice the numbers all on the outside go into each other, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. So essentially, my 2's are all just going to cancel, and I'm left with the square root of 21 plus the square root of 35 all over negative 1. Okay? All right, so let's take a look here at the last example with rationalizing the denominator. Again, I got to multiply by the conjugate, so it's going to be 3 plus the square root of 6 over 3 plus the square root of 6. Top I'm going to distribute, so I've got 4x times 3 is 12x. 4x times the square root of 6 is 4x square root 6. On the bottom, going to get 9 if I go first. Outsides is plus 3 square root 6. Inside is minus 3 square root 6. And last is negative square root of 36. So, on the top, I can't simplify anything. 12x plus 4x square root 6 over. These guys cancel in the middle. 9 and then minus 6. Because the square root of 36 is 6, so I end up my answer, 12x plus 4x square root 6 all over 3. Now, you got to check. If I check, does 3 go into 4? No. 3 goes into 12, but 3 doesn't go into 4, so there's nothing to simplify, and that's my final answer. Okay? Okay, so we talked about rationalizing the denominator here in section 6.3, part 3. Being able to multiply by the conjugate to get all your roots out of the denominator. Okay? This concludes section 6.3, part 3.